creativity leads to great business. Uday has been a transformative leader for Star. Star has incredible number of very, very talented people. My father and my mother were massive influences. Which programming person in the world has not learned from people like Bob Iger and the marvel of Marvel and Pixar. New India is being more ambitious around what can and should get achieved. We shouldn't only have one FTII. What do we need to do to have schools which are good as they are in other parts of the country? COVID happened. I think we will end up creating something new and something different. For the time being, stepping out in a theater is not possible. Content investments are a strategic part of our business. We are here for the long haul, deeply committed to content and content investments. It's been interesting. I personally feel that I'm more productive than I used to be. I have lived in Mumbai now for several years. So one of the challenges of working in Mumbai is you spend at least 2 hours commuting. So I can spend those 2 hours far more effectively. When you go to office, you end up wasting a lot of other people's time as well. Someone needs to come and pitch an idea to you. They have to travel all that distance. Then there are safety protocols, etc., security protocols that take further time. And even after all of that, one must therefore spend at least as much time listening and debating an idea. Whereas often you feel that you can get to the crux of an idea and understand it better and do it faster. If it is a Zoom call and you can finish it in half an hour or 45 minutes, but in a physical meeting, you know that this person has traveled such a long time to just come to meet you. You feel, oh my God, you should really spend more time just to do justice. Whereas here, you don't need to. So I think it has had its set of advantages, of course. The limitation is that I'm in the creative pursuits of great scripts. So you sometimes miss the energy in the room, a lot of people brainstorming together. We're trying to get that sort of feeling going on Zoom calls with colleagues. But it's not the same thing. There are many things that you miss in the energy of a room. It will definitely be different. I don't believe for a second that the post-COVID world is the world that used to exist before COVID happened. I think we will end up creating something new and something different. And I think the challenge is for each one of us, for our companies and for the industry, that this new and different that we create, how is it better? And I think that's what a lot of us are trying to problem solve on. That, how is this new world of creativity different? I think there are some challenges which are apparent. First of which is, giant scale physical productions. That's very hard to do in this environment right now and will probably continue to be a challenge going forward. I think companies like mine, in the past, we have never hesitated to have a real massive crew, huge set pieces like battles, for example. The way that it will get shot now, the way that this will get planned now will be very different. Hopefully to viewers look even better, but the way we will go about making it will be powered a lot more with CGI and the next leap on technology. So I think one massive way in which this shift happens, it really accelerates the opportunity to really adapt new technology in production in a very big way. I think the second thing that we are definitely seeing is the advantage of having a deep pipeline, right? How many ideas do you have in your funnel? How many creative people are you working with? How many scripts in the mix? How many productions working together and working across different paths? That will be very, very important. And I think the third part is that one of the challenges for us as creative company is, do we continuously kind of get a little locked in our own loop and away from the larger world and concerns and issues that our viewers face with? This is so enormous and it has affected us, all of us, equally and in so many different ways that perhaps this is not possible to keep out of our stories. And therefore in this, there is an opportunity to reduce the degree of deafness that creeps up into creative industry, which is small and which is largely still in Mumbai, let's say in the case of Hindi. And how do we overcome that is something that we can do better on. There's a lot of very interesting work on CGI that was enabling this. And India is at the forefront of this in any case. A lot of great work internationally is done by Indian firms and is done in India. So I feel that that's a massive opportunity. We know some of that already. I expect far more deeper investments in it and much greater interest from a leadership point of view to make this happen, to ensure that a world is created which is deeply rich, right? Consumers really love it and is much safer for us to shoot properly. And I think for the time being, stepping out in a theater is not possible. And therefore, there is an opportunity to make this available directly at home. And you create an environment that makes people, want to cherish. We need to innovate. And this is an interesting innovation to the crisis at hand in the movies world. There are several such innovations that have happened, which we have now been doing for the last 3 months, is that we took the entire process of making ads and we made it remote, right? We made making of ads work from home. And Star Network did it in a very big way. That's how we launched Disney+Hotstar. That's how we launched a range of shows on the Star Network on our TV business as well, including shows on OTT. Just as the lockdown was starting, we launched Special Ops. Very recently, we have launched Arya. Both the shows have done really well. And that gives us confidence that, we need to adapt to this new world. And a lot of rules and frameworks will need to change, keeping the new realities in mind. The big dharma for all of us is to entertain our fans, and whether it happens through the direct to OTT movies or it happens through a safe way of resuming content production in our TV shows or in organizing cricket or in making big series available by ensuring that promotion and post-production happen in a safe environment. All the production that we do for television is in India. India is a lovely place to shoot. Of course, we have challenges, but I think if you look at and compare across the board, all those challenges are there. And therefore, there is no reason to believe that why just in production we will be. I think our ambition has to be world class. And, we need to get there as soon as possible. But that ambition is equally there for our hospitals, and it is equally there for our scientists, and it is there for production as well. So we are learning. We have a long way to go. I think we are far from being world class in where we are today. But are we thinking about this, and how do we improve on it? Yes, absolutely. And I think some recent work on that has been very good. A lot of the OTT shows that have come in now, the production benchmarks are higher than what they used to be before the quality of these shows started sort of coming in and reshaping this agenda in the last couple of years. And I think that's a good step forward. It's it puts in face a couple of things, right? I think one, the quality of the talent has changed. It has become better. Second, script is very important, and a lot more time and effort is going into just writing better. Right, and new institutions, new frameworks have come in, a show Bible, a writing room, and those are good. They will ensure over a period of time far better quality products coming through from our country. So we are learning. Uday has been a transformative leader for Star. Star has incredible number of very, very talented people. Sanjay was my boss for 10 years, and I learned a hell of a lot from him. But I think the real strength of Star is our team as a whole. And I think the fact that we have the best talent in the industry, we have a culture and spirit that allows a lot of that talent to flourish, has made us successful. So that's personally my view. I've had a great run. I think Star and Uday have been deeply kind to me and have encouraged me always, given me great opportunity to do some good work that keeps me inspired and excited to be here, and hopefully do a few things which are setting the framework for a healthier industry. I think the reality is that Mr. Shankar has always been very deeply involved in the creative process at Star. We talk about how do we reflect India's concerns all the time, and how do we show this in a manner that is very, very responsible, that inspires people. So I think one of the big distinctions for us is what is there on our tagline, right? Inspiring a billion imagination. It has led to some very different programming, right? I think a few years ago we did this show with amidst Satyamev Jayate. It was a very unconventional show for an entertainment network to do, but for Star it seemed like absolutely the right show to do. The way we went about doing it, the scale of investments that we put in, the way the scheduling happened, the way it was marketed, it's put a very different stamp on what entertainment means. That's something that I think everyone at Star was deeply proud of. The way we think about it in our company is that we see ourselves as a content company first. So we are about the stories we tell and the impact that those stories could have for viewers. I think everything else sort of comes after that. I think that has truly helped. So as far as I'm concerned, I see myself as a content guy first, deeply interested in shows, in writers, in the physical worlds that we are creating, trying to input into making them richer, more diverse, more contemporary. Everything else is sort of it's about monetization and different brands and different distribution frameworks that are continuously evolving, and we need to stay ahead of those curves. We need to understand where our viewers are. We need to adapt as far as technology is concerned. While doing all of that, we want to be the place where the best writers come with their most exciting ideas, and hopefully we sort of become their partners in taking those ideas and making them very big. Personally, for me, the width of the brands is very exciting, but essentially it's doing something similar across the board. Our Jalsha, that was the first entertainment channel I worked for, and I have had a very long innings with Star Plus over 10 years. But honestly, no difference. They're very similar brands. One speaks in Bangla, the other in Hindi. I grew up in a newsroom. When you go in, you don't really know how that day will shape up. So you just bring in your skills, your intelligence, some of the reading that you might have done, and then it's about your reflexes. What can you add to a story that makes it truly come alive for your fans, for those who have come to you to get a perspective on it? I think that's the thrill and the excitement that has sort of stayed alive with people like Uday. I've had a ringside view of that career. It's been deeply interesting to watch. But so my earliest massive memory is 9/11 in the newsroom of Aaj Tak, and Mr. Shankar and me in the control room, trying to figure out what clips and what perspective to give, and being really, really clear that we were witnessing something happening right before us, which is going to change this world forever. That was a one real massive moment at the start of the Aaj Tak story, the start of news live television, the start of my career in particular. Another memory I have is from 2005. I was in the newsroom. Mumbai got more rain that night than Cherrapunji had ever recorded in the recorded history of rainfall in this country. And I was sitting on the news ticker when this flash came from PTI, and I couldn't really believe it what I was reading, and is this actually really, really happening? And I remember speaking with Uday and him saying, me telling him this and him saying that, drop everything else. We will just stay with this story. We will make the pain and agony and the spirit of Mumbai as it is struggling through this come alive in our coverage. And I thought that one moment was truly the moment which became the making of Star News. It was huge. We just covered that story nonstop. Our reporters in the rain with the people, showing human fortitude, perhaps like it had never been captured in a city earlier, facing incredible odds. So yeah, those are amazing memories, great stories. Because I think the advertising environment is difficult. But the way that we are thinking about it at Star is that if we believe that our shares can be high, then we will be able to do better in terms of advertising as well. So our hope and our strategy is to really try and see that we can keep a high part of the viewership share. And I think if we can continue to do that, we will continue to be able to make big investments in content. And in any case, content investments are a strategic part of our business. We do not think about them as what will be right for 1 or 2 quarters. We're taking the long view on this. We continue to remain deeply committed, the company that is most invested in high quality storytelling, curating the best possible stories. So I think, is there a road bump or two along the way in the next quarter or two? Yes, there is. But if I were to take a long view, will we be keener to invest even deeper? That answer is absolutely yes. So I think, as an industry, from our point of view, we're here for the long haul, deeply committed to content and content investments being our most critical resource, our biggest strength. It's going really well. It's been there for a long time now, so we know this company, and it's been very smooth, touch wood, in India, because there were not too many overlaps in our businesses. So people were not constantly worrying and thinking about who will do what. So I think that is great, right? So if I were to talk about myself, right, I think a lot of my time goes in programming big general entertainment channels like Star Plus and Star Bharat, in making or commissioning shows for Hotstar specials. Now, if I look at all of those three things, Disney was not doing any of those in India before this merger. So I think, as far as what I am saying is applicable to a very large part of this company, and therefore there hasn't been friction. Number one. Number two, I think this is a great opportunity for content teams and for people like me, because there isn't a bigger and more brilliant company globally in terms of creating marvelous cinematic franchises, and there is a lot that we have always learned from that. And which programming person in the world has not learned from people like Bob Iger and the marvel of Marvel and Pixar. And so I think, to be part of a global company where all of this is there and these learnings are available for you is an incredible privilege. We need to be more ambitious around it. And I think 2-3 things are important. One is, what makes content travel? When we can have a deeply local, authentic storytelling style and bring in a universal insight, right? And I think that's something that we need to do. Those are the kind of scripts that people like me and others like me need to commission, saying, are we seeing a deep, original, authentic voice here, right? And are we seeing an insight which is truly global? And I think the challenge with a lot of content that we have done, if I were to be critical, self-critical, right, is that it's only looking at the Indian market, and therefore that's a bit of a problem, right? Because if we get the insight right, and it's a universal insight, then it will work very well in India, but it will also be able to travel. I think the distribution platforms have always existed. In recent times, they have become even stronger, right? So, which is great. I think what is really needed is storytelling, right? It's pure play writing, which is authentic Indian, right? Doesn't seem like imitative at all. And then the insight is something that is wonderfully global. So let me give you the, most awesome Indian example. Slumdog Millionaire, right? Indian story, written by an Indian, right? And the insight was global, and it was told in that manner by Danny Boyle. So I think that's what we need to do, and we need to do it more consistently. And we are seeing a globalization of the world in terms of storytelling that has happened very, very actively in the last 5 years. And there's a massive hub that exists in Israel today, and there is an equally powerful one in South Korea, and a wonderful one in Turkey, right? If we cannot do that in the next 5 to 10 years, then yes, we have let go of a massive opportunity, and we need to find a way. And there is, I'm personally very confident that it will happen, and it will happen because large scale investments are being made, and a new India is being more ambitious around what can and should get achieved. So I think these two things, right? We have the resources, and hopefully we have the vision, right? And I think if we do both of these things really well, then the rest should follow. I think one massive opportunity which requires, public private cooperation is in creating centers of learning which are excellent. And I think we haven't done enough there as a country, and we should do better, and we need to do more, right? We shouldn't only have one FTII, and we should figure out what do we need to do to have schools which are, as good as they are in other parts of the country, and that's when their students will be as good. There are so many. My father, of course. I think all of us end up looking up to our parents. So my father and my mother were massive influences in the beginning of their life. Both of them were teachers, and then my father became a public servant and a writer. So he's always been a massive influence. Uday, of course, I've had the great opportunity, privilege of working with him for a very, very long time, and I've learned a lot from him. So he's a absolute great influence as well. And I have a 14-year-old son. I'm hugely plugged in, or try to be, in his world.